What can be done to, as far as environmentally sound development to occur? I'm a very pro-development person. I don't think you'll find a more pro-development person than me in this state. Following the Exxon Valdez oil spill, I was in Valdez, of course, there was created a Regional Citizens Advisory Council to sit down with the industry across the table to work back and forth, science to science, and try to keep the attorneys out. And it was successful. It was going on for 20 years. And at first it was very heated, very heated. I was there at the table. But over the years it was science to science. We need to get the stakeholders involved in the process based upon science, not based upon litigation. All too often, I look at what's happened in the state with the Kensington mine in Juneau. That went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Who else wants to come do business in Alaska where you know that the cost of entry of doing business in Alaska is potentially going all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court? I look at what's happened on offshore drilling as a result of what's happened in the Gulf Coast. We'll do some time for that. There's no question about it. I think we already are seeing the effects of what's going on in the Gulf Coast. We're seeing the federal government becoming more restrictive. We recently saw a permit for the LNG liquefaction terminal in Valdez. For the first time, after 4 years of rolling over the start date of construction, for the first time they said, we're not going to renew the extended start date, you need to bring it up to standards on environmental and safety issues. I think that's a no-brainer to do that anyway. But there are some that have championed that, said, see, there's never going to be an OLS line. That's silly. But what it means is that the federal government is going to get more and more and more involved in our lives as far as regulatory processes, because there is some criticism of what went on the Gulf Coast. I think what happened there could be our first blowback as a result of that. We've got a serious problem in the state. We're a resource state. And on all the, when I met with Shell about 2 weeks before that incident off the Gulf Coast, what Peter said to me, he said, you probably have no idea the influence of the National Environmental Organization in your state. They are very, very deeply embedded in this state. He said, that's a problem. That you should be aware, you should be concerned about that as a lifelong Alaskan, and I certainly am as an Alaskan concerned about that. As far as full restitution on litigation they bring, if $1 comes from out of state, absolutely, no question about it. I'm all about getting national organization, environmental organization out of our state. If they're going to do this, they're going to pay for it. Because what they do is they run to the Ninth Circuit. Everything goes to the Ninth Circuit. And I'm sick and tired of them stopping us every time we turn around and try to do something. So I absolutely am in favor of them being fully responsible. I do not want a national environmental organization coming to the state and trying to regulate how we do business in our state. We are all environmentalists, and we wouldn't be here. And no one from outside is going to tell us what we can and cannot do. We are the stakeholders. We are the beneficiaries. If it goes right, we pick up the piece if it goes wrong. Stuff happens. There are highways in the state that would be closed if you apply the same standards on the highways as you do on resource extraction in this state. It's absolutely wrong that we are allowing national organizations to come up and impact influence the way they have. I would want every dime from them if they get involved in litigation.